I could do something different and get a different result. So I want that sting. I want to know I tried something and it didn't work because I want to trigger.
Long as you're here, you have a chance to transcend yourself. So don't believe in perfection. It doesn't exist. It only makes improvement. So I would practice every day.
So again, when you think about these guys enhance their abilities. They go beyond and they exceed expectations because it's that mindset of wanting to be great. I think Kobe said it best, and I think a lot of athletes that are hovering around that stratosphere of being great and considered one of the greatest is that it's a relentless pursuit of greatness.
I think we always have said the easiest thing to do is hold that trophy. That's the easiest thing to do in this process. And that's only going to be for a very short amount of time. The work, the commitment. Like I said, not getting up when you're knocked down. I mean, throughout Kobe's career, in Michael's career, LeBron's career, Dwayne's career, Magic Johnson's career, there's always going to be these struggles or challenges that you have to get over, and the hardest part is in you trying to be one of the best in the game.
Focus and memory, and I want to look at what I could do differently next time to get a better result. Because I know while other people are laughing at me, I'm laughing back at them because on a long enough timeline, I can be anyone at anything because I can self-soothe. I don't need it to be somebody else's problem. I don't need to point fingers at other people. I don't need to blame the culture. I don't need to blame society. I don't need to blame anybody other than myself. And even that word doesn't have power over me. It doesn't make me feel badly about myself. Yes, I am the cause of this problem, in as much as had I done something different, I would have gotten a different result. Now that makes me feel empowered. So now I'm in this powerful loop of taking on the responsibility, saying I can do something different. I can change this. I can get a better result.
And finally, I went over to this radio station, asked a guy for a job named Mr. Birdwell, and I said, "How you doing, sir? I'd like to get a job." I was working on Miami Beach at Fontainebleau Hotel at the time. Jackie Gleason and the June Taylor dancers were famous. And my favorite program on television, most people would not remember, John Beresford Tipton. "Hi, my name is Michael Anthony. I have a check for $1 million. How many of you remember that program? All right? The Millionaire. That was my favorite program on television, So this is my fantasy, and every time we would drive from Miami Beach, I would fantasize, oh, that's the house. When I get my million, I'm going to buy my mother that home over there. So that was my fantasy. So I went up to Mr. Butterball, and he said, "Do you have any radio experience?" I said, "No, sir." "Do you have any background in journalism?" I said, "No, sir." I said, "But I can never get experience if you don't give me the opportunity. I've been practicing a lot, sir." He said, "I'm sorry, we don't have any job for you." I said, "Thank you, sir."
But I wanted that sting of really staring at my inadequacies, really looking at and analyzing my failure. And then I know, repeating ideas, right? This hurts. With next time I'm going to be better. And I'm not going to sit in that pain for very long. Because I understand, I need a brief moment of pain. If I spend too much time there, I'm going to get lost in the pain and I'm not going to do what I need to do, which is improve. So I never allow myself to wallow in that suffering. I want it, but I want it briefly, just enough to trigger the action. Now, how do I make sure that I walk that fine line? By one very simple thing. A rule in my life that says I only do and believe that which moves me towards my goals. So if believing that I need to beat myself up and suffer and realize that I'm a loser, if that was going to move me towards my goal, which is fulfillment at the highest level, of course there are times where you're going to slice that up and it's going to be what are the exact things that I need to do to reach fulfillment.
He didn't know my reasons for being there. My reason, I wanted to use radio as a means to earn the money to buy my mother a home. I went back to the radio station again. I said, "How you doing, Mr. Butterball? My name is Les Brown. I know your name. Didn't I just see you here yesterday?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Y'all have any jobs here?" "Didn't I tell you yesterday we didn't have any jobs?" "Yes, sir, but I thought maybe somebody got fired or resigned." "I don't know, sir." I went the next day. "How you doing, Mr. Butterball?" He said, "Yes." And I just didn't take it personal. "How you doing? So y'all have any jobs here?" "Didn't I just tell you yesterday and the day before we didn't have any work?" I went the next day, showed up like nothing was wrong, like I saw him for the first time. "How you doing, Mr. Butterball? Y'all have any?" He said, "Boy, make yourself useful. Go get me some food." I said, "Yes, sir." See, many times when you want more, you've got to be willing to pay your dues. So I became their errand boy. I would get their lunch and their dinner and all kind of food for them. After a while, I would take the food to them in the control room, and I would not leave until they would ask me to, and I'd watch them working the controls, and I'd memorize their hand movements. And pretty soon, they would trust me with their cars to go pick up entertainers.
There's going to be a tension with it. Right, you're put on a pedestal, and you fall even harder when you do. So I really had to learn how much you have to prepare, you have to live it, You have to want it so bad to where you'll sacrifice those Saturday nights or Friday nights with your friends. You know I'm gonna sacrifice if you're in high school or something and the dance is this week, you know if there's more dances here. I'm going to the gym, you know. This is what I'm going to put my time into because this is what I want. And being around all of those great players, getting to see their commitments, see their rituals, see how much they put into the game.
If you just stay on course, it'll take you further than you can ever imagine. You know, I think for me personally, what set me apart, I think, from everyone else is that my dedication and my discipline and just the execution of being consistent is what put me in a different stratosphere, just put me on a different level. And I think people were able to see that. Sometimes, like I said, I didn't want to just blend in. I wanted to stand out. When we started to become successful,
character is the person you are after you've chiseled and chiseled and have gotten past all the unnecessary material to what's underneath. But since we're usually surrounded by other people, let me be a little more specific about how the differences between a charismatic person and a person with character can play out in the real world, particularly in leadership situations. Here are 4 sets of circumstances that can easily occur. First, a really charismatic person can make people believe there's pie in the sky, or that the sky is going to fall tomorrow, one just as easily as the other. By creating these expectations, charismatic individuals can indeed energize and inspire others, or terrify and demotivate them, until the overblown scenarios are proven false.
I mean, it was second to none. Always take those processes. If you have a goal, there will be obstacles. In your way, you can climb them, you can run around, and you can do everything, but you're going to have to put the work in to make sure that you accomplish your dreams. The most critical piece of advice that I've ever gotten, and I won't name who, is from a coach. One day, all he said, and paint the picture for you, I was a rookie. I'm 19 years old, I'm playing with guys old enough to be my dad. I'm getting thrown around, I'm playing a level of basketball that I'm barely hanging on by a nail with, but I'm one of our best players, so I'm playing every night. I want to go home, I'm not used to the cold.
you're not going to be 100% liked by everyone. There's so many layers and so many elements of being a professional athlete and being in that sport. You're going to be subjected to criticism. You know, whether you do good or bad, people are going to talk about you, good, bad, or what have you. But you have to be strong-willed, and I think that's who and how I was. And I think a lot of that, like I said, stemmed from the upbringing of my grandmother. But at the end of the day, I think an athlete, again, to get to where you want to be and the process in which it takes to get there, you have to be addicted to bettering yourself. You have to be addicted to bettering yourself. And that's what I became. You have a relentless pursuit of really just perfection, greatness. Obviously, it boils down to my 3 Ds: desire, dedication, and discipline.
And the charisma runs out. But a person of character doesn't need to be anyone's Pied Piper and isn't comfortable in that role. Instead, he or she looks within for the true source of inspiration and energy. Second, a charismatic person can inspire devoted or even fanatical loyalty. But this can all too easily turn into an unconscious sense of dependency, and that can make matters difficult when the leader is no longer available. Like a charismatic coach, effective during the glory years, but when he leaves the organization, there is a sense of abandonment, and the team may never achieve anything like its prior success. Powerful personalities often resist delegating authority, but it's an attitude of character for a leader to refrain from making himself or herself the indispensable heart and soul of an organization.
I'm just kidding, I'm getting beat up, but I wouldn't quit, and I was looking for this piece of advice from someone. And all they told me was just like they would always tell me, hey man, keep going, just keep going. All the time, every time, and you know I got so mad because I'm looking for that euphoric feeling from the piece of information that they're about to give me. Right? That's why I think we all kind of struggle sometimes. Looking for that and putting too much pressure on the situation. But as I got older, as I continued to train, as I continued to not give up and not but a loss define me or my character.